34 items, 5 tiers. Today, I'm ranking every single Skybattle item in the game. I'm gonna review each item and go over its strengths, weaknesses, and uses, and place it from a tier list from S to D. S being a great item that you should have all the times, and D being very situational. And each of the items in the tiers will be arranged from the best and worst of the tiers. Also, contrary to what I say in this tier list, there's not really a bad Skybattle item. I mean, sure, there are outclassed items and situational ones, but everything here is pretty balanced. Also, I'm not going to include some starter items like stake blocks or the pickaxe, since these items don't have any real replacements that are essential to play the game. Now, let's get started. Contrary to other Skywars types games, the Star Sword is much more useful here compared to the ones of Hypixel and CubeCraft. This is mainly due to the fact that Skybattle armor doesn't include the helmet, and the diamond armor is pretty rare. So, is it a good weapon? No. Main problem is that you're definitely gonna replace it after you see another weapon. Manage to land the first hit, the stone axe can kill people faster than the stone sword. In fact, it's actually faster than the iron sword in some cases, and because of that, the stone sword gets a C tier. This sword is an upgrade to the stone one. Yeah, that's it. Compared to the stone sword, you can finish fights one hit quicker than the iron sword in all armor types. Now, as much as I want to bring the stats up against the iron axe, there is one advantage that the sword has against the axe, and that is its combo potential. Because of its higher attack speed, you can use the sword to make many combos, making you very hard to hit. And if you do it well, you can actually end the fight without losing any health. B tier, since all swords can do this. Ah yes, the iconic Minecraft Diamond Sword. Against the Iron Sword, there's nothing to say about this other than being one hit quicker than the Iron Sword in some armor configurations, but fortunately against the Diamond Axe, it's not as simple as the previous ones. If your opponent has Diamond Pants, the sword beats out the axe even if the first hit lands. This actually makes the Diamond Sword the best melee weapon in some situations, which puts it the first item in S tier. This type of sword is one of the more rarer items since this can only be found in epic chests, but is it worth it? Oh yes, it is. Depending on when and where you use this can be considered a free kill generator in an open area or a waste of hardbar space in an enclosed one. But considering that 80% of Skybattle takes in these fall damage prone areas, this is a solid A tier. Just like the knockback sword, both stone and iron axe can only be found in epic chests, and also this axe is technically better than the sword. It only applies if you landed the first hit. If you don't, in many cases the sword is faster, so you have to be really confident in your aim to get those quick kills. This goes in B tier. Honestly, it's pretty disgusting how similar these two weapons are. Although the Iron Axe has a barely better attack speed, which technically makes it better than the Iron Axe, the likelihood of finding someone with a stone axe when you already have an iron one is pretty rare, since you can only find these in epic chests, which all players have the same item access to. And also it isn't that much better against the sword, so because they're basically twins, the Iron Axe goes in B tier. Ah yes, the first legendary chest loot. As much as I clowned on the Diamond Axe on the Diamond Sword section, it's still a really good weapon, especially if the opponent doesn't wear Diamond Pants. In fact, you can literally two-shot a player. It's just going to S tier, since it's basically RNG on what armor they wear for the round, and it's not like it's bad against anyone with Diamond Pants. Quite the contrary. The starter bow is pretty decent. Although it gets outclassed by the others, the bow itself is a decent ranged weapon. Even without power punch, you can chip and knock players off really well, if you hit your shots. As you know, arrows are pretty rare in the game, so unless you killed someone, you're gonna have to be really good with a bow to get its full potential. And due to its low DPS, the bow is heavily reliant on finishing opponents and knocking them off to secure a kill. And although it's a pretty hard decision on where I should put this, the regular bow is going on B tier. Compared to the starter bow, the power bow does 1.5 hearts more damage, and although this seemed like not that much, this can 3-shot almost anyone less than 2 diamond pieces. Definitely A tier. Ah yes, the bow that blows you back 3 blocks. Although it's tempting to compare both the power and punch bow, they're pretty different weapons in playstyle. The punch is more akin to environmental kills, while the power is much better for bow combat, or when the target can't be easily be knocked off the edge. So how good is it? Well, it's basically a better ambush weapon than a knockback sword. Although the knockback sword is better knockback than the punch bow, in most situations you really have to knock them 1 or 2 blocks. Shooting them with a bow is a lot faster than running to them and landing a sprint hit. A tier. Although it's tempting to put it in S, it's pretty situational most of the time. The quick charge 2 crossbow is pretty good. It has this damage of a power 1 bow with 3/4 the time that it's needed to reload. And the arc is much more longer than regular bows, so not to mention you can load this and fire quickly during close range fights. So basically an S tier. Surprise surprise there. Oh, by the way, if you can you please subscribe? I want to be the first MCC Island YouTuber with creator rank. So if you can, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to like and comment. Levitation sparks, shortened to levies, are instant potions you can use to fly 13 blocks high. With these things, they're basically the biggest soft counter you can have to the punch bow. Soft counter as you can still deny them a landing zone. But even so, this has saved lives of many Skybattle players, and makes crossing gaps a stress-free paradise for about 3 seconds. And don't forget the endgame where TNT and creepers reign like little cats and dogs. Many Skybattle players are very thankful for the levy, and I couldn't imagine the game without it. This item easily goes to S tier. This is basically the poor man's golden apple, but its advantage is that it can be used immediately, so you can basically save you in the middle of a fight, or if you're being chased in an open area. Though it's not as much healing as a stick, it's still a solid A tier. Although the mechanics of the fishing rod are pretty useful on paper, as you can literally fling players to Mach speed to their death. In practice, this is pretty hard to control. The range is very limited, the projectile is really slow, you have to be really high to pull this off, and the line has a tendency to break. So it's no coincidence that this is rarely used on matches. Which is a shame since it's really good in 2 specific situations, bridge battles and TNT flame. But these are really specific or require a lot of practice, and because of that, C tier. So how exactly does one use snowballs? Simple, you just use them to knock people off bridges, if you have no arrows. I mean, you can also use it to stop players, but that's not really a necessity. B tier since it's almost hilarious on how common these kills are. Yes, the ultimate combo item. Just use this with a creeper or TNT if you don't have one, and boom, anyone who gets trapped dies. Even without creepers, this is a great thing to have for PvP in general, and don't forget its MLG potential. If you have a jack of all trades item, this would be it. S tier material. This is pretty good for island bombing, since you really can't control it after it gets ignited. You can also use it like creepers and make makeshift TNT cannons, which can deal massive damage if done well. Problem is that this item is pretty slow to explode, so if you're a good player, you could easily just place a block and wait for the timer to run, or just you rarely get kills with these unless you're sneaky about it. So because of its amazing utility but really slow explosion, I'm putting this on A tier. Yes, the other part of the combo. Although it's really powerful, the creeper is much more reliant on the cobweb than reverse. Don't get me wrong, it's a really good explosive, much faster than TNT, but the thing is that you can disarm it. This makes a good distraction and is much more lethal than the TNT, but when island bombing, this makes it really easy to prevent. And don't forget, it might go after you if you're not careful. This goes on low A tier, since the combo is really good. Aside from being the ultimate troll weapon in Candyland, you can use it like a cobweb creeper combo and use TNT to get another combo. And the better thing is you can reuse it as long as the source block isn't destroyed. Don't forget, in Candyland and Red House, you can make an impenetrable barrier that gives you an automatic win. Though these are pretty hard to pull off. S tier since who doesn't like to do a little bit of trolling? The main advantage of Ember Pearls in MCCI compared to its vanilla counterpart is that you don't take any damage. Problem is that the stage of the game you're at. It's pretty hard to land a pearl in a ledge since there's not really anywhere to go to. But let's say you got the legendary chest really early on and you have the power to go anywhere. You can use it as a hit and run or escape a deadly situation. This can be a lifesaver, but you can only do this twice, so you have to pick them really wisely. So because of its limited use but really overpowered ability, this item gets A tier. This is the first item I think is overrated. I mean, sure, you can MLG and make makeshift bridges, but that's all the scaffolding is good for. I mean, don't get me wrong, MLG clutches are really important in the game. But there's also another item for that, although it's a pretty bad option. So this is going to S tier, but barely. Although this weapon seems very good in paper, on practice, not so much. The splash potion empowerment does 3 hearts regardless of what armor the person's wearing. But the problem is that you gotta be really accurate with your potion throws. And you'll only get 1 of them per round, so because of the limitations, C tier. Ah yes, the better harming pod. Better throwing range, better harming range, and a whole ton of knockback. Easy S tier. This is basically a slower regen spark with the benefit of 2 extra hearts. Now, this might not seem like that much, but hey, you gotta take any advantage you have. Also, it's one of the only 2 food items in Minecraft that you can eat while having full hunger, so you can get much more saturation and much more healing. So if you're in a big fight, don't forget to use it. Golden Apple goes on S tier. This is the item that you're most likely going to keep for most of the whole round since the other 2 are pretty rare. They're pretty solid item, A tier. This armor can actually save you. Blast Protection 4 can reduce the damage but from explosions by 1/3. Combine that with some Blast Protection leggings that can make creepers survivable. Now this is really specific, but the only other option is Diamond Chestplate, which is a 1/4 chance of spawning. So, S tier. Obviously, this is a powerful armor piece, as you can gain 2 extra armor points that your opponent can't have. Now this might not seem like much, but it can survive an extra critical hit from any weapon you're going against, compared to the Iron Chestplate. So that's pretty good. S tier. This has the exact same problem with the Stone Sword of being very replaceable, but at least the Stone Sword is better than nothing at all. In fact, this can only protect you from, get this, the Stone Sword itself. If you get any other weapon, it's basically the same as having nothing at all. D tier. Same with the boots. Okay, so the changes are pretty minuscule, but at least it isn't as replaceable as the others, so B tier, I guess. Obviously, this helps in explosions. Problem is that the diamond pants are much more common than the diamond chestplate, since it's not limited to the legendary chest. In fact, diamond pants are much more common than the blast protection ones. I'm giving it A tier since it's still an upgrade to the iron pants. S tier. It don't really need an explanation.